Hey guys, how we doing today?
Good. Thank you for having us, man.
Oh, my
Thank you.
pleasure. All right, so I'm speaking with Pierre, the director, co-writer, and Maxime, the producer, co-writer. Let's start with Maxime. Um, you produced, co-wrote this film. You also star as the demon. Um, Tell me about stepping into that.
Well, co-writing, producing, like felt like very natural because we worked together with Pierre on Two Witches, in the same capacity. So it was just like like just us keeping working together. When it comes to acting as the demon in the movie, it was not something that we originally planned. It kind of happened, after a failed makeup test and like moments like this and it was late at night and Pierre was like, Max, just do it, And so I was like cool, like I always wanted to play a demon or like a villain or some kind of creature in a movie. Like I thought that was always so cool, so we did it and we were able to bring it to life with the help of KO, our FX makeup artist, who's absolutely amazing. But yeah, main challenges was like big makeup sessions, like up to 3 hours, sometimes more. Every single part of my body was covered in makeup, like, in prosthetics, like the eyes, the mouth, like the face and everything. So it was really, really crazy. But seeing the transformation and the work of KO and then like how it looked on camera, after spending like nights running naked in the house with Pierre and playing cat and mouse to try to, like get some scary and cool jump scares. We're so stoked with the way it looks. So yeah, it was an amazing experience, challenging, but really amazing and cool to see come up to life.
Yeah. So Max, also the demon has a lot of physicality to the way it moves, the way it scrambles and hides. What did you use for inspiration for the physical acting of that character?
Well, like the look that we had at the end, like really was reminiscent to us of movies like The Descent, like
Yeah.
uh we have like I mean to me there's like a little like little Gollum like type of vibe to it too, like very
Hmm.
ghoulish, um and so we were just like trying things. Like I think that's where most of the inspiration when it comes to movement comes through. We had talked with Pierre about at some point hiring maybe somebody who could like gymnast or a
Okay.
contortionist,
Yeah.
um to make some very like specific moves and everything. And we wanted to have this kind of detached like vibe to it, like a little bit like scattery movements and stuff like that. So that was the inspiration, I feel like. And then like also like whatever was looking good on camera and what the feedback of Pierre when we were shooting, like, oh, maybe try to move your head a little bit more like this. Or it was a combination of everything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I if I can say a few things, so we wanted initially the contortionist thing, but then we were like, we've seen it in so many movies. That's what
Yeah.
you were saying when we were, because we were trying to have some other people, but like the budget would also then it would be a problem because usually then people are more expensive like that, and we were gonna be like, we were gonna be shooting some stuff that already been done, and so we were like, maybe the demon looks like moves more like a man, just like an adult, and we like that kind of like um echo of maybe like the father figure, of played by Sean O'Brien. It just needs to be like a male body uh that's just like, scrambling, but I don't think we wanted it to be like like it already looks supernatural, so we didn't want the movement necessarily to be too supernatural. So that, and also it worked with our budget. And I will say, for example, I remember there's a shot that we used for the credits, or a few shots where you're in the doorway and you were standing there, and I just told you like to give like more like shoulder breathing,
Mhm.
like just like a to make it like a really like strong, imposing stature, a little bit like
Like a
what's his name?
bull or something
Like a
that.
Kane, like a Kane Hodder Jason Friday the 13th. I don't
Right.
know if you're familiar with this man, but like the way he portrays Jason compared to the others like this really, you know, strong person, but it goes a lot in the breathing and the chest movement, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up an interesting point, Pierre, and that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about was that even though there is a demon in this film and the demon is the catalyst for all of the horror, most of it is perpetrated by humans. It's,
Yeah.
he is an infector and the real monsters are the people in the film. Tell me about crafting this story and that poison of humanity.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we keep saying that the scariest people in the movie are not the demon, and we believe especially it's the father figure is like the scariest one. So the initial idea was to have just like a very simple idea of a child being afraid of a parent, right? That was the idea, and we thought it was scarier th to make it. Like a possessed person because it was like it's some not something we had seen before, like a possessed person that like is taking care of a child, you know. It's like it would be like this kind of crazy, you know, thing to put together, but also we wanted that person to also you know, be nice to the boy at some points and then be very evil and then be nice, and this back and forth is sadly more realistic than, you know, just like full on I'm possessed and now I worship the devil and blah blah blah, you know. And it was more shocking, more disturbing because it looked like it could be more of a real life situation, but with extreme visuals and extreme, you know, obviously like context of being in this haunted house possessed by a demon. Um, but so we quickly, when we had this initial idea of like, oh, there's a kid and there's this woman who's a possessed, we quickly was like, oh, what a traumatic event would that be? And so from that, when we were writing the script, it was like, okay, so then starting from this trauma, what other trauma would that? And you know, and we were just thinking of like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You know, but why would this person do that? Well, this person did that because something horrible happened to them, you know. And then we had like this evil thread. That's, you know, and building blocks like that. That's how we came, you know, yeah, that's how everything came about.
Yeah. That lore that you built, with the demon and the timelessness of the infection of trauma and possession, goes all the way back to, I believe it starts in 1910 in
Hmm.
Egypt. Did you base any of this on any existing lore you found, or is it all imagined?
You know what? No, to be to be very honest, I don't we didn't really do any research, but we just thought of some, you know, things. Obviously, you know, we're big like horror buffs, so you know, like The Exorcist, all those like movies we had seen. So it was more like we would use the tropes of the past for the audience to make their own things. Uh, but it's funny because at the test screening, there was like some people who watched the film and came up to us after and be like, "Oh my God, you the thing in Egypt, it's like this you know, there's like these North African demons that do exactly that." And someone was saying like in I don't know how to say in English, in Carthage, you know, this with the
Yeah,
actual
Carthage.
Tunisia
Yeah.
now. Yeah, it's like there's like this thing in over there, and we were like, they were like, yeah, so that you use that, right? And we were like, no, but he was telling us exactly what. So I guess it's more like we we tackle universal fears and universal problems of the human existence, and chances are some other people already thought of this, you know? So, yeah, that would be my answer to it.
All right. I've got time for one more question. This is for either of you, and this is another script question. Um, the main, well, so it's hard to say main character because everything moves so swiftly and across so many decades. But Mikey, is that a reference to Michael Myers, or you just like pulled a name out of a hat?
Max, you want to go with this?
Uh, sure. I think it's for the audience to decide really. The name is definitely not pulled out of the hat, like we're massive fans of the Halloween franchise, obviously. And it's funny because you're actually the first person mentioning the name Mikey, but some people went deeper and like caught on some different type of references that sometimes there is in the movie. But yeah, just
I
maybe.
mean, we'll just leave it at that. There's enough clues, I think, for people to make the bridge. But yeah, it's more of a again, we're horror fans and we're using the tropes of the past to interact with the audience. So it's not like obvious. We were surprised that it's not that obvious, but
Mhm.
I kind of appreciate people who see it and be like, of course it is what it is. It's like, is it our take on it? Maybe, probably.
No, it's fantastic. I love it when horror directors wear their passions on their sleeves and do homage. I mean, that's what keeps the community together, and I think that's why this film's going to succeed. Thank you guys so much for talking to me today, and best of luck.
Thank you,
Thank you
Eric. Thank
so
you so
much,
much,
dude.
man.
Thank you for having us.